Hey, thanks for joining us today for our Fireside Chat. I am so excited for what we have in store, what we have today. Come on in as you guys are coming in. Make sure you fill out the poll. We actually have the poll that's going on that I want to make sure that we give everybody time to come in. But thank you guys so much. We're so excited to see you guys with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the experience. Welcome to our Fireside Chat virtual. I am so excited. I will be joined today by Rushion McDonald, as well as Dwight Elder. Man, when I tell you we have an impactful conversation that we're going to squeeze into an hour, I just want to see what types of people do I have in the room. As you guys can see, there is a poll that is there. And I just want to see who is in the building. Who is here? Because that lets me know what type of people we have. I'm an Android user myself, and I see we got some people, we got a lot of iPhone users, so that tells me what type of conversation we're gonna have. If you're in the chat, if you wouldn't mind putting where you're from, because a lot of times when I have these fireside chats here in Atlanta, so many people are saying, hey, we wish you could do it here, come to our city. And so I just wanted to see who is participating today. If you could put in the chat what city you are from, what city you are attending. I'm so excited to go ahead and get started. I also, too, I wanted to showcase a song that I wrote. And I partnered with my husband and his partner, 2-3. If you guys know Joel, he is a musical artist. And we actually wrote a song, collaborated together to bring it to life. And one of the things that I'm so excited about that song is because in the world of entrepreneurship, hi, I'm Jessica Myers from Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a real estate developer and entrepreneur. And in the world of entrepreneurship, I see we got Christina from DC, we got Gianni from Atlanta, Chips from Atlanta, Latrina. You from Newark, okay. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. Thank you. But definitely I wanted to start off because a lot of days in what I do in entrepreneurship, it's a journey. Like, yes, I'm in the business of real estate, and you may know me from a real estate developer, but it's a journey of what I do, staying focused, staying true to, to what we're building and what we're doing. So it definitely was something that I was like, hey, what can speak to me in my times, what I'm going through? And, when I want to quit and when I feel like I've given all that I can give. So as we wait for people to join us today, and as we, let everybody and the guests and everything like that come in, I see Michelle is from Atlanta. Hey, Michelle, we'll be starting very shortly. But I wanted to play the song Strong Enough just so that people can get the gist of what it's like to be in. And we'll use this to get started. And we'll go ahead. Thank you guys so much. I had everybody putting in the chat. When we got the poll, I need to know who's in the building. We got the poll. You're an Android or iPhone, because that will let me know how the conversation needs to go today. And just trying to see who's in the building. If you can, put in the chat where you're from so that I know, like I said, this is something that we plan to take to cities all across the country and really across the world with the development that we're doing now in Exuma, Bahamas. This is an opportunity we can take it across the world. So please give me give your undivided attention. I'm about to play our song Strong Enough, and then we will go ahead and get started with the day and what we have planned.
Life gonna come at you fast, but you know what? You gotta stay ready.
Can you guys hear it in the chat?
Something bigger than you to believe in, to pull you through, to draw you near, to wake up every day and go after that dream like no other. Don't give up. Don't give in. You gotta push through. You gotta keep believing in yourself because you know you got it. So let's get it. Let's go. Strong enough.
If you guys are just joining us, welcome in. Put in the chat where you're from. We're going to give it a second to go ahead and get started.
Strong enough. Anytime my back is up against the wall, still standing tall. Strong enough. Don't stop. came from royalty, moving like your majesty. Look up to the sky, ain't no limits in the galaxy. Motivated, actually, meditate the sanity. Never get no sleep so I can make my dreams reality. Keep on working, let the haters keep on hating. Tomorrow never promised, but God that I make it. Nobody give a handout. Sometimes you gotta take it in the present, past for the future you create. A lot of people lost cause they ain't find a purpose. Don't let these people judge you cause ain't nobody perfect. Make sure that you grind.
Come on in. Welcome to the Fireside Chat. If you would put your name and information in the chat. This is a song Strong Enough. Because you know you got it, so let's get it. Let's go. Thank you for joining us, Dwight. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
Oh, I stay living the dream. Man. We're going to go ahead and get started. We got people coming in. They've already been putting in the chats where they're from, because we got somebody from Pennsylvania, DC, New York, Atlanta, Delaware. I was like, wait, we got Delaware in the building. Okay. And I've been having everybody, because I'm like, what? There are two types of people. iPhone users and Android. So we got everybody. That's the poll. I'm like, let me see who's in the building. The iPhone users or the Androids?
iPhone, for sure. We had this discussion all the time.
I know. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll play a little intro video just to tell more about who Jessica Meyer is. Because everybody may not have come because they know who we are. You know, a lot of people may know Dwight, may know Rushion, but definitely want to make sure that, we set the precedence, and then we'll go ahead and get started. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
You know you got it. Let's get it. Let's go. A mantra coined by real estate entrepreneur Jessica Myers. She is a real estate developer and investor through her company, It's Jessica Myers, having renovated over $15 million in real estate assets since starting in 2015. Jessica is passionate about teaching ground floor principles in real estate to build family legacy. She created her course From Wholesaler to Hotel Owner, which provides low-risk, beginner real estate techniques that lead to your wholesaling success.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Jessica Myers.
Thank you guys so much, man. I'm so excited to be here today. Today we have two very special guests. As you guys know, this is the culmination of the book that I wrote, Real Estate Mastery, with dealmaker Jessica Myers, where I have a 3-part success formula that gets me into any deal that I did, from the $15,000 deal that I did to get started in real estate to the $1 million deals that I do with the hotels and everything. It comes from my 3-part success formula, and that's having the opportunity itself, the skill set and know-how what to do with said opportunity, and the capital to execute. And honestly, you can apply those things to anything that you do. And that's what I've done with real estate. And that's what I want to speak with my guests today, Dwight Elder and Mr. Rushion McDonald, about what formulas have they used to master in their lives. And we want to make sure that we focus on the mindset that got them there to their level of success. Because when I tell you, these are some heavy hitters. So we're going to go ahead and jump into my conversation with Rushion and take a look. All right. So how are you feeling today?
Really good. You know, it's rainy here in Atlanta, Georgia, but as they know in Atlanta, you know, things will change. It's supposed to become the warmest day or the warmest days in Atlanta coming this week. So it's all good.
And so as the deal maker, one of the things that I always talk about is how to make better deals.
Deal maker, okay.
Yes, and with you understanding, you've made quite a few deals.
I get so many titles in my life. So Renaissance man, deal maker, baker. I get baker
Yes.
now, so I love that. Manager. My degree is in mathematics, and so my minor's in sociology. So I think the sociology side, I think, is what has really enabled me to, which is about understanding people, understanding patterns, has really enabled me to be the person that's able to negotiate deals and understand people and their habits. And so I think that's been the bigger asset in my life from an academic standpoint, to become a person who understands deals. And deals is how you communicate with people. And if you learn how to communicate with people, then you'll be able to cut deals where both sides win. I think that you never really want to never really want to shake somebody's hand that they're not happy about the deal that they close. It's the same with your house. Would you want to close on a house where you feel that you got over on the owner? Would you sleep comfortably in that house? No. So it's the same way with a deal. You want to make sure that you can sleep comfortable and wake up the next day feeling good about your life.
Now you mentioned habits.
Yes.
So what were some of the most successful habits that you mastered early on that help you in your deal making process now?
There's two things I always talk about. It's the two C's. C's. It's called consistency and communication. And consistency is being able to do something on a regular basis that people can count on. That means showing up for work, being true to what you say on when you do something, you do it like you're supposed to do it, and being able to communicate the task that they ask you to do, and then be able to finalize it based on the proper level of communication. So if you have a level of consistency and you know how to communicate, then it allows you to do deals and create positive and strong relationship. My career is really tied to those two things. I'm very consistent, even to how I wake up. I wake up at 4:30 a.m. And people always say 4:30 a.m. Sometimes I say 4:30 a.m. It was just like this morning. I woke up at 4:15. I woke up like at 3:45, and then 4:15 I went, get up. You up? What, you gonna just sleep in bed till like 4:30? You up? So my body is trained to the sense that it knows that this is what time we start to work. Because as soon as I open my eyes, my brain activates to start thinking about what I'm supposed to do for that day. Because what happens when I go to sleep, I always have my goals and expectations set in place. So when I wake up, my brain is immediately activated to the task at hand. The problem that people do that's a mistake is that people just go to bed. And so that's why there's such a difficult nature in getting up, because they don't have a plan of action. If you don't have a plan of action, then you will hit the snooze button. If you don't have a plan of action, then you'll complain about getting up. But when I get up, my eyes open up, I know what I have to do, which allows me to move forward in a positive and aggressive direction.
So it sounds like you tapped into what I like to call burning desire.
I don't know if it's burning desire, but that's a good phrase to talk about. I think that it's about understanding your task at hand. We have to be task oriented. We have to be goal oriented. We have a lot of dreamers out there, but if you're not a dreamer that understands that it has to be tied to a goal, because you have a lot of people talk about jumping out on faith or going out on faith. Well, that faith, it better have a plan associated with it. And so, so when you have a burning desire to achieve something, then it should be tied to a goal. If it's tied to a goal, then it should be able to resonate to a level of achievement that should make you happy and the people around you happy as well. Because happiness that is singular is not long-term happiness.
That's very true. So what was your transition like? Because I know you were in corporate America, you were working with IBM. What was your transition like to take the bet on yourself? Because you said have a plan. Did you have that plan?
No, I did not have a plan. I just bet on, I was one of those idiots that went out there on faith. I didn't have a plan. I had a plan, but it wasn't thought out. It was that I just knew that where I was at was not going to lead to long-term happiness. And I was embarking in a business, the entertainment industry, where you really you don't have a plan. You just have a lot of hope that your abilities, it's a very competitive field, it's a very age associated field, because in entertainment at any level, when you're younger, people pay more attention to you. And so as you get older, the opportunities for your success get smaller and smaller. So you should create a resume that allows you to be competitive as you get older. So I was going in a field that I was young at the time. So I felt I had that box checked. I was talented. I had that box checked. But how I was going to get famous, that box had the question mark, because in life, everyday life allows you to be able to have a better structure. If you go to college, and maybe depending on what level of college or trade school, 6 weeks or a year or 2 years or 4 years, you can get a degree. So that can be strategically planned out. But when you go into an entertainment business, does it mean you're going to be successful if you move to New York? Does it mean you're going to be successful if you move to LA? Does it mean you're going to be successful if you just travel around the country and build your brand and your reputation? No. What it is in the end is that you have to have a burning desire, I'm going to steal your phrase, to be able to get up and understand that that the next day could be your day. But if it becomes your day, you have to string together more of those days. And don't look at it like it's the lottery. And a lot of people make that mistake in life in general. Something good happens to them and they think that's it. And that's not necessarily the case. Even if you win the lottery, that's not it. You better have financial people around you. You better have where you're going to put the money. That's why so many people who win large lotteries bankrupt.
That's why I like to talk about the habits and the mindset, because like you said, that could be the first thing to go when you finally get some success.
Well, that's true. And here's the funny thing about success. Success is funny because when you're young, I get to look back now. I'm 64 years old. I can get to look back. And I get to look back and, when I was 25, I get to back when I was 30. But and when you start having success, can you sustain that success? Or can you elevate that success? That's the part that you're trying to achieve. When you look at a career of a Tom Hanks, look at the career of a Denzel Washington, whose son, John David Washington, he has to follow his father's footsteps. So he has to look at a path that could be like Mount Rushmore, and so where I'm at right now, and guess what? I'm still not satisfied. I still have other goals that I have in place that I got to reach these goals because I have certain things I want to achieve. And so my burning desire, my goal-oriented self is tied to, being consistent through positive communication. And then we tie that faith that you have or tie that aspiration you have to a long-term and short-term plan. Because short-term, which should be 90 days to 6 months, and then long-term, 5 years to 10 years.
I was like, no one knows more about mastering, like putting together a plan and understanding. You brought up a keyword, pivot. Mm-hmm. Because that's how I feel like you've been able to stay relevant all this time. Like you just mentioned your age, but you've been consistent since the time you started.
Yes.
Back, like you said, you left IBM, mm-hmm. went into entertainment yourself, mm-hmm. and you've shown that same consistency, and that's allowed you to impact others.
Well, I people tell me that a lot. They say, Rushion, what don't you do? This is what I would tell you honestly, is that I remember in August 1990. October 1990, I made a commitment. I wrote it on a little post-it to God. I said, God, look, if you allow me to maximize all my talent, I promise you I'll give 100%. I promise you I'll give 100%. And so what happens is that if I see an opening, I will go at it at 100%. And that level of commitment allows me to really master that or have a clean understanding of that and be successful at that. And so that's what people see in my career, whether it was in college and IBM. I left a very successful person when I left IBM. When I was pursuing a career stand-up comedy, I did Def Comedy Jam. I did BET. I owned a very successful comedy club. When I took my turn in acting. And I performed in a very successful movie, Jason Lyrics, as Fast Freddy, the tap dancing guy. The hood really took him down. And so everything that I've done, and then when it became management, I took Steve Harvey to heights. And now currently I'm fortunate to be managing somebody like a Stephen A. Smith and also Creamalicious, which is executive chef Liz Rogers, and Jeff Jenkins and his own show that's tied to Nat Geo. And more people are coming to me now because I know my voice and I understand my voice. But when you look at that, I do get the title a lot of being a Renaissance man. And that being a Renaissance man, which I take that title with excitement, because that means that I'm willing to maximize the opportunities that come my way. And when they come my way, I want to tell people that you can win. But two things that stop people. People stop themselves, and people allow age to stop them as well, because somehow they feel that they're supposed to be at a certain place at a certain age, and that's not true.
Well, at least you came up in a place where people actually worked to prove the validity of what they were building. Now, in the world of social media, because you actually mentioned about fame, how does that pair in what a lot of people like? They can get viral and may not put in as much work, may not have the execution.
I'm disagreeing with you. Why can't you take advantage of technology? Come on now. Look, I grew up with rotary dial telephone. So you telling me that I didn't take advantage of people who grew up with a rotary dial telephone, and then I went to push dial telephone, and then I went to iPhone. So I myself was moving forward. I went from the pager to the sidekick to the cell phone, where you got unlimited unlimited time on the weekends or after 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So, people who go viral, that doesn't mean they have longevity. There's so many ways you can make money. It's about making money. It's like, whether you are, look at it this way. Let's put it this way. Back in the day, Playboy magazines or Nudie, I'm just using this as an example, magazine dominated because they had that's where you can only find that type of look of a woman. Now a woman controls her own look. And so those type of magazines are irrelevant now. They're irrelevant now because of the fact that women are now controlling how they want to be presented. And then you go, well, I don't need that magazine anymore. I don't need to see that, because women have said, this is how I want to present myself. Not like that. And so I always tell people is that social media is a wonderful thing. Is it a damning thing? Yes, it is, because it can lead to overexposure. It can lead to people being traumatized mentally, because people control you. People can be very rude. People can be very evil on social media. But social media is a business. If you have a social media account, you are an entrepreneur. Know that immediately. Get out of the fact that you posting these pictures for your food and all that. You are an entrepreneur. So once you understand that you're an entrepreneur because you have a social media account, then your whole value system of how you look at yourself and present yourself should change.
It should shift. That's very interesting, especially redefining what fame means. What have you redefined in this industry?
I think that I remember I was being honored at this Personal Managers Hall of Fame. And William Shatner's manager got up, and I'd never met him. And because each one of us had an opportunity to speak. And there was a lot of really, really powerful managers there. And he said, I don't know Rushion McDonald, but he said he took a Black comedian and crossed him over. He said that was unprecedented. He said, yes, you've seen the Bill Cosbys of the world, but he crossed him over from this lane of just 100% Black audiences to a crossover appeal that's unprecedented. He said he created the word branding. And it was funny when he said that. I remember when I was sitting down with Steve Harvey, because of my IBM days, I remember I told him, I said, why can't we treat you like IBM? Why can't we have the same rules for you and give you the same standards and give you a brand? And that's how it all started for me. But I didn't know at the time that I was doing that with Steve Harvey, and that it was something that was unique. There's now a term that people use all the time, but it was nice to be recognized or acknowledged that I had done something that had not been standard in the industry. And it was only an idea that I took from my working days at IBM. I felt that if IBM had rules of how people should react around them or how people should treat them and standards? Why can't an individual? And I felt that should be the same thing with Steve Harvey. And that's what I started marrying him to various Fortune 500 clients like Ford. And one of the biggest ones was Disney. Once I locked them into Disney, that was important because that was the ultimate family brand. And I felt that if the ultimate family brand could tie themselves into a comedian who had made his business as a very cussing comedian and Def Comedy Jam, Showtime Apollo, the sky's the limit. And his career has been phenomenal because of it.
And you only since been creating multiple. It's almost like you figured out the formula. Like you said, you were good at patterns and understanding patterns. And it's like through that 16-year prowess working with his career, it's like you understood the pattern. And it's like now you got the formula, which is why you continue to crank them out.
Well, I don't know if I have the formula. I would tell you that I trust myself. I remember that, and people trust me, and I think that's the key. I think that because that's why I want to avoid the word formula, because it's tied to trust. It's tied to what is your case studies. I remember when I started managing Stephen A. Smith, and he'll tell you, he said, Rushion, I didn't even care about my brand. You make me care about my brand, because I started saying, brother, your brand's important. It's what people think about you. We just can't have this ugliness on your social media. Again, because he's one of those authentic guys. You say, I don't care. This is me. I want to be. I said, no. At some point, there are people out there that can damage your brand, and you can't allow people to do that willy-nilly. And he went, you're right. And so just like any major company will do a cease and desist, well, a cease and desist on social media is a delete, is a hide that post. That's what a cease and desist is in social media.
So I know that a lot of people now admire you. Who do you admire?
That question's been asked about me several times. And I guess, really nobody, and I don't say that in an arrogant manner, because I just I am a lot of different people. I constantly trust myself. I think that I have a unique way of thinking. Sometimes that has gotten me in trouble, and but it still has paid off in dividends, because of the fact that. So I've been told that I should. It's a lot of people out there that are similar to me. I should sit down and talk to. I shouldn't use the word lot. It's people out there that are out there that have similar success stories that are unique like me. That'd be great if we sat down and talk. But I know that in my life I have made a difference, and I think that's really cool. And as I sit here and do this interview, I sometimes I go, I kind of know why you're talking to me and why I'm here talking. But I just know that this journey isn't over with. So it's kind of like, okay, I'll tell you this story, but guess what? It's going to change next week, because I'm going to do something significant next week. I'm going to do something significant in January, in February, and March, because that's the way I am built. I've been thinking this way since I was 18. When I look back on my life, I've been convincing people to charging people $5 or $10 to go in the club. So I always knew how to convince people that I had value, and that value cost. Whether it was and so I never did events where it was free, because I always felt that people who engaged in free activity never gave up anything. At least charge them $1. And I tell you, the mindset of I paid $1, I'm gonna get my dollar's worth sits in, versus free. They disrespect the whole process, and they're not there to achieve any sense of respect.
What has been your best investment so far?
I guess my family. My family's been my biggest investment, because of the fact that in the end, you can be successful. You can be on your private jets. You can get your awards, but my family and the biggest problem is I haven't given my family the time that they deserve, and I'm doing that now, and I don't think it's too late. But I feel that in the end, my biggest investment has been my family.
I want to do a series of rapid questions to say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Life is better when?
Younger.
When starting a new endeavor, the one thing you need is?
Plan.
Wealth is?
Success.
Time is?
Money.
And you have a podcast, Money Making Conversations. Do you want to speak about that or how people can tune in?
Oh, Money Making Conversation Masterclass really is a show that I do live on WCLK campus. Well, I should say on WCLK, which is on the campus of Clark Atlanta University every Tuesday. It's a live show, 6 to 7 p.m. You can stream it, and on the 91.9 FM on the radio dial. And I tell people to listen to what I talk, and I bring guests on, and you can call in and ask questions, and also get a share of life of how I think my journey is, and my journey and how it's tied to you. And really, when you look at the big picture, is that Money Making Conversation Masterclass is a conversation that allows you to listen in on success.
So how can they find out more about you if they wanted to see your social media or anything like that?
Just Google my name, Rushion McDonald. There's only one of us.
Any final words?
I'm good. I really am good. Thank you for allowing me to come on your show. Thank you for speaking to your audience. I hope they got something out of it. I like to believe they did because I have a pretty unique perspective, but I like to hopefully still they got something out of that will resonate with them. But, I've been fortunate with an unusual name like Rushion McDonald. If you Google it, you'll find a lot of things going on about me. And if you do your research, I think that my life is unique enough that it can impact you in some way, and something I've done, interview I've done, had, or a motivational piece of advice I've given to somebody, because it is a life that has changed a lot of hands. And fortunately for me, I've been able to control every hand I went to.
And it's been a definite honor for me, even reading about you through the years. So to finally get a chance, well, I was on your show when our hotel came out. But
yes.
Now to have the chance to be able to return the favor and, you feature on mine, it's been an honor.
Well, when you hotel, that whole thing, I still marvel at, Black people owning the hotel, because, we Black people know about the clothes, they know about the shoes, they know about the house. Well, they know about the car, then they know about the house. Now you talking about Black people knowing about hotels and owning hotels, girl, I had to wrap my head around that. And it was because of the fact that it tells us how we are so back in understanding the possibilities of success. And so that's what social media brings to you. You're iconic in that sense that we can now see you as a star. So, we talked about social media earlier. That's where social media becomes a blessing, because talent like you.
Wow. So Dwight, as far as just jumping right in, thank you so much for joining me today as well. We heard from a true master, and I feel like someone who's running up on the hills, and you are making a name for yourself as a world-renowned photographer, as a celebrity manager, and it all starts with your will to win. Can you just speak more to what you got going on now? And if you guys don't know, I have a book out, Real Estate Mastery. And actually on the cover of the book, I was shot by Shooter. I was shot by the world-renowned photographer, Mr. Dwight Elder. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. How you doing?
Oh, I stay living the dream. You know how it is over here. So
Absolutely.
what was that journey like? Now you got world-renowned photographer, you travel the world. But where are you now? And I want to unwind and speak more to what the journey is that got you there.
Well, it really took this. Just basically coming from Oakland, California. That's just basically something that we just was bred with. Just everybody hustles where I'm from. So I was raised around a bunch of hustlers. So everybody was on their grind all the time. So I was one of those people that sat back and I was always quiet, and I just soaked up the game from the people around me. The elderly people are those are the people that I admire the most, because they always got all the information. They got everything. Yeah. So I just I tackled that based off of just coming from Oakland. It's a long journey, but coming to Atlanta, it was a whole nother kind of environment for me and understanding. So I learned a lot from Atlanta too, just being raised here, coming up and going to college here. There's a lot of hustles here too, so they teach you a different type of hustle.
Yeah, one of the things I know is that a lot of people who are doing a lot of big things come from Clark Atlanta, or the AUC, I'll say. I would say Atlanta, because Georgia State, I feel like kind of merges in to be HBCU in some way, because we graduate so many African Americans. But
Right.
What was that experience like as far as the resources of what Atlanta bends to, what you're able to do and what you're able to have access to whereas you may not have access to in other places?
The first thing, when I first got here, I was always interested in music. I always loved music. When I first landed, I went out with my uncle one night, and I was 21 at the time. So I went out with my uncle, and we went out, and it was a nightclub off of Cobb Parkway. And when I came to the club, it was Shorty Low there. Shorty Low was in the valet, and he had about 50 people with him. They all had D4L shirts on. And I'm like, I ain't never seen that before. You know, when we go out in California, we 3-4 deep. You know, that's how we roll. But I seen them all come in about 50 deep. They all had the same merch on, and just seeing that, it opened me up to saying, like, it's a community here. You know, like everybody they stick to community. They stick to each other. Everybody in the hood. If it's one rapper, everybody in the hood represent that one rapper, and they pushing that to the fullest.
Yeah.
So coming here, that was a culture shock to me because that was the first thing I saw. So that really motivated me to understanding the power of community and getting my people together and helping me, and me being also part of a community and being able to assist the best way that I could. So
now they call you Shooter, but another nickname is like, one of the things that I know is like, never stop running for the train.
Right.
What does that mean? Can you expound on that story and what the significance is to you?
Okay, so just to give a backstory. Once I graduated from Clark Atlanta University, I left and I moved back to California for a while, which I started my journey working for Apple, which was a huge part of my journey. I learned a lot. They taught me a lot. They built competencies in me that kind of resonate with me still to this day. So in that journey, I was just pushing, and then I kept growing through the company. And after a while, I became a photographer. I started taking pictures of people randomly. And once I did that, people started to say, okay, cool, I like the way you shooting, you know, because I always had like a popular background to me. So everybody always noticed what I post. If it was just meals, my family, whatever, they noticed it. So once I started posting pictures that I was taking, people was like, oh, wow, I like that. Or I take a picture of a salt shaker. People would be like, yo, I like that. You know, so I was like, you know, it was nothing, but I was addicted to taking pictures all the time. So what I did was I ended up taking off days from work at Apple constantly, and from there, you know, my boss at Apple was just like, you know, go chase your dreams, go do what you love. And so I left and I moved back to Atlanta. I chased my dreams here, and when I got here, I didn't have no car, I had an apartment, no furniture, no nothing. So at the time, I was on the train every day, and I had a pocket full of business cards, and I had a camera around my neck, and I was just chasing this photography dream. At the time, I was engaged, so I was, you know, I was trying to figure out that end of life too, because, you know, I had to support a whole entire family in the system. Yeah. And I didn't really know how or what I was going to do to get there, because the money that I was using was kind of good doing this, because I was chasing a dream of photography. So it got worse and worse and worse. But every day I rained through the snow, I was on the train every day. And so I was passing out business cards to people. If I seen a girl that was attractive, I'd give her my card. Or if I seen a family, I'd be like, y'all need family pictures, I'd give them my card. Yeah. So people was hitting me up for like little $2 shoots, $200 shoots, $100 shoots, but it wasn't enough to pay the bills, you know? And it wasn't also enough to start planning for a wedding.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so what I did was I just said, forget it. And I just kept pushing for that. I could have went to go get a job, but I always stayed dedicated to my craft because it's what I love. And when people was telling me how good I was in it, I realized it was a God-given talent. It wasn't nothing that I learned, because I'm all self-taught. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't learn it through nothing. And I was still learning. Actually, I'm still learning now to this day. So, so what happened was exactly. So I started pushing. And then one day I ended up getting evicted out of my place. I had eviction notices and everything. And I was trying to figure it out. They called me for I'm ready for the wedding. I have to go to the grocery store. I got bags in my hand. I'm walking back and forth everywhere I go. But listen, like I said, I'm from Oakland, so we still got that hustle. It's perseverance over everything. So the objective was for me to overcome each obstacle every time, because I was like, I can't go backwards. I ain't know where I'm going backwards, because I already made this decision, and I understand that this is going to get me where I need to go. Yeah. So once I'm on the train, I end up going to the barbershop, getting my hair cut. And it was this gentleman in the chair talking about music. His name's Zona Man from Chicago. My brother Zona. He was talking about music and all this. He got some videos coming up, and so my barber Booz, he ended up giving me a ride to the train station. when it was in the car, I gave Zona my card, and I said, hey, yo, just hit me up whenever you need a shoot or something like that. And he was just like, all right, bet. So he hit me like 2 months after that and said, I'll be out there for birthday bash. So I want you to shoot me for the weekend. And I was like, all right, bet, cool. So I'm like, ooh, this dude in music, I got me somebody I can lock in with. So when I pulled up to the address he sent me, they was at the Signature, and I'm like, ooh, he on the jet. I'm like, man, who is this dude? You know, he got big money, he on the jet and everything. So when I walked on the train, he was with Future. I mean, walked on the plane, he was a Future. And I was looking, I said, ooh.
I was like, not train, but you were on the plane.
I was on the plane at this time, yeah. So and my uncle let me use his car to be able to go to the airport. So it was cool. I got a ride there. I had to go to take the train there. So when I got on the plane, I'm like, I could take pictures of both of them now. Like I can take pictures of Future and the dude I'm working for. So, but while they was moving around the city in cars, mind you, I still had to get on the train. So if they was at Walters in downtown, I had to go, and they said, I'm asking where they going next. They like, we about to go to Lenox. And I'm like, okay, that's about 30 minutes. I got to hurry up and get on the train. I got to leave 15 minutes early. So now I'm running up the street full speed for the train. You know what I'm saying? And now it's 100 degrees outside. I got a backpack full of cameras, lenses. I got computers. I'm sweating on the train like I'm hot, boys. By the time I pull up at Lenox, they already sitting right there and they pulling up the valet by the time I get there. But while they pulling up, I'm getting shots of them jumping out the cars. I'm getting all the good shots, all the moments. That's what I like to do. I like to capture these moments. So, but the next day there was a concert. Future got a bunch of people with him. This is his hometown. So all of the cars, my uncle let me use his car again to go to the concert. But all these cars is pulling in, and they going backstage at State Farm Arena, and everybody going in backstage. And I'm like, you know, I'm in the last car, but they stopped my car and said it's too full. No more cars can go. So now at this point, I'm like, wow, like I got to get in there. But I'm telling them I'm Future's photographer because I got pictures in my phone. My camera. I'm like, I'm Future's photographer.
Like,
you know,
of course, I got pictures of him on the plane.
Yeah. Look, I'm with him. So I need to be able to go in there with him to take the pictures. You got to let my car go in. He's like, no more cars can fit. So I'm like, man, what I got to do now? So at this time, I just said, forget it, and just walked around the arena, and I was trying to figure it out, and I had to go park in the parking garage. And mind you, at this time, like I said, I got evicted. I got no money in my pocket. I ain't got nothing. I'm overdrawn in my account, everything. So it's looking bad for me. So, you know, I go into the parking garage. I had to sweet talk the lady in the parking garage about helping me and letting me park. I was literally there for 10, 15 minutes. I was there. And so she ended up, after a while, she was like, go ahead, park. She let me park. So when I pulled in the parking, yeah. So when I parked, I went back around to where I was supposed to drive in at, and I told the guy, I said, hey, you remember me? I was the one that was supposed to come in. And he like, yeah, you got a ticket? I said, no. He said, you got a pass with you? And I'm like, no. He said, well, look, I ain't gonna be able to let you in, man, because you need some type of credentials to get in here. And anybody in those concerts know you need that credential. They ain't letting you in. So I just was walking around the arena, and I was just texting Zona trying to figure out how I'm gonna get in here. And you know, he moving around. It's a lot to come back out. Now that I'm in it, I know it's a lot to come back out and get somebody if they didn't get in with you at the time. So you just missed that opportunity. But I realized I ain't gonna ever miss an opportunity. So I just said, forget it. I took off my hoodie, I threw it over the barbed wire fence, and I hopped the gate. And I hopped the gate backstage, and in the back of the stage, I'm moving through air conditioning units. I'm squeezing through air conditioning units. I open up one door. I'm backstage at the concert. No ticket, no pass, no nothing. So now I'm in the show. I'm moving around, and I'm moving around backstage, and they telling everybody to stand to the side of the stage. Future performing at the time, so I snuck up on the stage, and the side I'm taking the pictures low key, just taking them. But I see Future kind of looking out the corner of his eye a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't necessarily know if he was staring at me, but I just seen him looking. I'm looking, but the security see me. They like, no, get him off the stage now. And they take me and they kick me out the whole arena and everything. And then fast forward, Future asked the gentleman that I was working for, Zona, he said, hey, this photographer that's working with you, you know, he doing all of this on the train, you know, because he was running full speed up the street for the train. And then he was like, man, you're a hustler, man. I want to holler at him and see if he can shoot and work for me. And then he invited me to the studio, and it was me, him, rest in peace, Seth Perkins. Seth was there, and Seth was, he was in the studio doing music, whatever. And I thought it was gonna be a bunch of people in the studio, but it was just us. And if you know Future, he's real inquisitive. He liked to ask a lot of questions, because he wanted to know the people that he's around, So he asked me a lot of questions. We was just chopping it up, and we was vibing. And then, ever since then, he was like, I want to bring you on with me as my photographer. So I came in as his photographer. My first time working, we went on a European tour, which was probably over 20 cities. We moving city to city. This is my first time out the country ever in my life. So I'm experiencing this on a whole nother level, you know, so, and I'm staying in the best hotels. I'm doing it. So this is like literally a culture shock right away. Just
like literally your life changed overnight.
Overnight. Yeah, exactly. So, and I remember when we was overseas, you know, he just got off the stage and stuff. He had his shirt off, he was sweating, and it was just me and him. And I was sitting on the couch just looking through the pictures. And then he said, "Yo, we finna be riding in Bentleys. We finna be getting chauffeured. We finna be riding in Rolls Royces. It's finna be luxury. I'm telling you, I know." He said, "But never, ever, ever forget when you was running for the train, and keep that mentality." You know what I'm saying? And I kept that mentality the whole way. And from there, I just kept going to new heights, new positions over and over again. I just kept going this, and then I became an assistant. From an assistant, I started just learning new stuff. And my thing was to try to just be a Renaissance man and do anything and everything that I could do, and try to do it to the best of my ability. You do know Future, he's a perfectionist, and everything around him, he wanted to be that same way. So, you know, everybody around him, Ebony and BK, everybody that works now, we make sure that we try to tailor what we do in our work ethic to how he is. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't never get nobody who works 360 out of 365 days a year in the studio and still already made it. Still already a superstar. He's still already doing what he's doing. So mimicking that, like that's automatic growth because you locked into it. You locked into it the whole time. So you don't see nothing but growth every single day, because like once if his album go number one, the next day we gotta be album number one employees.
Yeah.
And moving. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't be still where we was at before that, like the day before that. The next day we number one. So everybody number one. So
but one of the things that I'm hearing about your story is that you're adaptable, you pivot, and you're always skilling up. Because actually, that's how we wound up connecting, you know, always being in the atmosphere and environment of learning and skilling up to different levels.
Yeah, exactly. So the key to it is really just making sure that you're able to pay attention to those moments, to know when it's time to actually do that. Because, you know, like God put us in position in situations, but sometimes if you got too much noise in your mind, if you got too much stress, too much stuff going on in your mind, then you're not going to be able to see really what it is that he got for you, or whatever that alignment is. You know, you're not going to be able to pay attention to that because you got so much distraction and you got so many detours kind of taking you in another direction. So it was
you talk about the noise that can be in your head, but I mean, you were going through extenuating circumstances whilst you met the photographer at the barbershop. Right. So like the noise, I'm sure, was pretty loud in your head. Like you're getting evicted, your account's negative, and you still found space to quiet yourself to be open for that opportunity.
Wow, I'm happy that you said that, because the key to it was really, I was to be honest, I was the complete opposite. I was at that time, it was the time when I was really making sure that I focused on living in the moment. That was literally how I got to where I got to. If I would have been living with the noise, I would have never knew to hop a gate. I would have checked out and just been outside the stadium waiting for them to come out so I could take some pictures whenever they leave to go where they're going next. Because I was in the moment and because I was present, and I did look up at the gate and did look up at the barbed wire fence. Like if you want to know like physically how it went, I looked up and I looked at the barbed wire and I seen I had on 2 shirts and I was like, okay, wait a minute, I could just take this and throw this over, because I was so present. And being present is the key to it all, because it alleviates the noise and you're able to make the decisions you make no matter what the circumstance is. Because everything you like, if people say I'm broke, being broke was a memory, that was something from yesterday. Like, you can wake up the next day and get some money and you're no longer broke. Like, that's your option, it's choice, which is why God gives us a new day every day. You see what I'm saying? He gives us this new day to be new people. Like, but a lot of people are still trying to be the old them. They still too busy taking too much old stuff with them, so they don't understand how to release that and move forward and be able to take this day as a new one, because he blessed you with a brand new one. So
because imagine if you would have met the guy with an attitude in the barbershop, and if you would have oh man, I just got evicted, and you were in there talking about your eviction, do you think that they would have been opening the door and the opportunity? So like you said, forgetting about your the circumstances of the past, block it. And make sure that you're in the present and that you're in the now, and that you persevere and you have the determination, because your thing is that this is going to happen no matter what. I just came from a private plane, and you know, I saw the potentiality of what's here. But if I let my past distract me, I'm not going to be able to get to where I know my destination is. And going on a European tour the next week or month or however long that time was, that lag was, that day changed your life. But it took you having to get past your circumstances and persevere in the moment and think through. Because I'm not gonna lie, as a leader, I feel like all we do is really solve problems. All we're doing is solving problems, but you have to keep calm and keep your head when all about you is calamity. And even in that moment, I can imagine if somebody's telling you no, I can't imagine going to State Farm Arena right now and somebody telling me no. And I'm like, well, I'm getting in. But how many times do we get to situations it tells us no, and we're just like, oh well.
Right.
Let me just go home.
Right. A lot of times. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't never been that way. I go out if they tell me the ticket sold out to a concert, I'm there still.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm in there. They already know. My partners they all bought their tickets early. I forgot. I ain't buying, but next thing you know, they're gonna look up and they're gonna see me right there next to them. Like, man, what the? How you get in? But I'm there. That's just how it is. By all means, I got the by all means mentality to me, and I'm gonna win by all means, no matter what.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing gonna ever be able to stop me from doing what I'm doing. That's 100%. Like I ain't gonna ever. It can't nothing do it because I'm in control of this destiny. I'm in control of this machine. So I have to be. Everybody is. It's not just me. Everybody is. It's just people got so much doubt in what their abilities are to do, so they don't ever really chase it hard enough. So I just always been a person that's gonna chase it.
Well, speaking of chasing, like I said, I was fortunate enough to be shot by Shooter, and you shot the cover of my book, Real Estate Mastery. And at the photo shoot, if you don't mind me sharing, I know we say run it, never stop running for the train.
Yeah.
There was a moment where you had your son on the set.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where you were running for the baby.
Yeah.
And I always talk about the progression of man from running for the train for your dreams during that period and now being a father. Your son just turned 1. What has that meant to what you're now building and how that's pivoted now that you're running for the baby?
Right. So just growing up, I had a father. He was there partially, when he wanted to be, but he wasn't there enough to be able to support and give me the advice and give me the information I needed. And when it was under very tough situations. So I really had to adapt to him in certain ways that was unorthodox to what a father and a son relationship would be like. So, I knew who he was, and he told me a lot of stuff that a lot of people didn't understand him to be because he was a very tough person. And when he died, I was always without one. And then my uncle, Javance, my mom's youngest brother, he stepped up to the plate and made sure I was in sports, made sure I did what I needed to do. But still, he was young himself. He was still living a young life himself. But he did what he needed to do to support me as much as I could and keeping me athletics, keeping me with the best clothes on, everything, looking out for the best dressed every year, the superlatives, because, my uncle always made sure I was cool. Latest technology, cell phones, 2 ways. He always, I commend him. So he stepped up to the plate and played that father role for me. But it was still now that I'm a father, I realized there was a lot of stuff that couldn't be taught at his age, because he was still living a young life, which he instills it now, that I'm older. But before, he was still moving around himself a lot. So he was just an uncle, just taking care of his nephew. So, when I was able, I always loved kids. And my grandmother was an emergency foster parent. So she used to have kids coming at random times of the night. And I would have to, when she had to go to work, I was the oldest, so I would have to make them food in the mornings or lunch in the afternoons, or sometimes even cook for them at night. And so that taught me how to be able to care and love for kids and youth. So I always had that soft spot for that. And then as I got older and I finally had a kid, it was like I can do, and I was already built for the best dad in the world already. It wasn't like something that I had to start learning in the process. Like he was walking into the most perfect dad that he could ever get at the time. So now it's like, anywhere I go, anything I do, I want him to be a part of it because I want him to experience the stuff from a dad. Like, God forbid anything happened to me, I want him to say that all the moments and I remember my dad, like I could take that and I can run that because he was a legend to me, So that's really my motive for anything, is just making sure that he lived way, way, way better than I can live. And then when he have kids, his kids can learn something from him that I taught him that they can live. So, just change the whole paradigm, of how, my family and everybody else looked at fatherhood.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they complain when they ain't got dads and stuff like that, or they ain't got no dad in their life, And I wasn't never that kind of person. I was just like, I took it from like my partner London dad. I took it from my partner Ryan dad. Like everybody's dads, I was sitting there and I was creating my super dad from other stuff that I seen and I liked from other dads. And so I was able to take that, and I was able to take like communication from this person, you know, like love from this person. And I was able to instill it into myself, and then I can project it and give it to Enzo, you know, so.
Nice. That is beautiful, man. We are a sum of all of our experiences. And I love how your story, and that's why I was excited to tell it and share with our audience, of perseverance, determination, and it gets you to the place where you are at the top of your game, where you are, making moves all across the world. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. Please put them in the chat, because I can keep talking and expounding on his story for the rest of the evening. But I want to make sure that we get some of the questions that you guys have. These are men that have mastered, and they've done very well in the entertainment space and behind some of the world's biggest artists and entertainers. You got the Steve Harveys of the world, you got Future of the world. And if you guys have any questions with how they master, like I said, I did write a book, Real Estate Mastery, and I also have a show with the same title. So I'm actually going to take a second while you guys get your questions in the chat, so that when we come back, I want to show a preview. If you guys have not had a chance to check out the show on htvnow.com, htvnow.com, you can check out Real Estate Mastery. I wanted to go ahead and show a preview for my show. Check it out. Welcome to Real Estate Mastery with your girl, Jessica Myers. I am a real estate developer and entrepreneur based out of Atlanta, Georgia, here in the States. And the reason I say that and I classify that is because I was a little girl with a dream and a vision to do real estate all across the globe, to generate 1,000 doors. And this is my journey how. Very informative. We took a deep dive. Mr. Jack Thomas.
It's more not just about real estate, but about what the real core of it is, and that's wealth.
Today I have joining me Miss Maura Taylor.
I never dreamed that I would be doing what I do now.
Movement himself, Mr. Julian Gordon. How you feeling? Entrepreneur, podcast, Terica Wright, Mr. Errol J. Allen, Mr. Patrick Henderson. How you doing today? You know you got it. Let's get it. Like I said, don't be afraid. That goes back to your first point, mindset. So you know what? You already know what time it is. Be sure to join us for another episode. This has been Real Estate Mastery. Real Estate Mastery. If you have not caught an episode, you can feel free to go to htvnow.com to find it, or you can join any of my social media platforms and you will see. Man, tonight we have been having an impactful conversation with Dwight Elder, Rushion McDonald, and I am just so excited about what they've been able to share. Please, please, please don't forget to put your questions in the chat so that we can go ahead and get them answered. Thank you, Shay, for your congrats on the show, and thank you for the others. And I feel the love, I really do, and I appreciate it, because I know a lot of times when I'm doing real estate development, a lot of people are always asking, well, Jess, how do you get into real estate? Like, what do I need to do? Well, that's why I got the book. That's why I got the show. I got my friends. I got all of these people that it's taken me decades to build this network. Like they say, your net worth is tied to your network. And I see just how, because the people that I'm meeting, they continue to pour into my life to where I am and to helping me to get to even greater heights. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Rushion actually had to leave, and it looks like Dwight actually had to leave as well. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into the show, but be sure to check me out. Barnes & Noble, you can purchase the book, Real Estate Mastery, or you can go to my website, it's jessicamyers.com, to purchase the book. Real Estate Mastery shows you how to get into real estate utilizing my 3-part formula. Mind you, when I got started in real estate investing, I only had $1,500 to my name, if that. I started out as a wholesaler, but understanding about wholesaling is what allowed me to get into the game. It allowed me to get my internship into the game and really use my skills in sales and transfer them into real estate. So head on over to it'sjessicamyers.com, and I would love to hear from you guys. That is actually me on the other end. When you guys email me, talk to me on Instagram, direct message, or anything like that, please reach out. I'm here to help clarify your vision, because with clear vision, as you heard from the people that were here today, from Rushion McDonald, from Dwight Elder, with clear vision, you achieve and execute more. it's not just all about real estate. It does not have to be real estate. I know April, she was like, this needs to be a podcast. Thank you for getting my book. By the way, can you take a picture with the book? I would love to see it. Love to see you with it. And please, please, please send it to me, because it's not just about getting the book, but it's about understanding the knowledge and applying it. So that's what we are here for, to share the knowledge. I'm sharing all of my contacts with as many that will come on camera, because there are some that are like, I don't want to speak to everybody. I just want to be undercover. But we do have, I'm sharing my contacts with you guys. And well, here we go. We got Mr. Dwight coming back. So we did have a question, Dwight, for you. We actually had someone that asked, what has been one of the greatest moments in your career?
The greatest moment in my career, to be honest with you, I think it happened most recently. So just Future, somebody that, you know, I always look up to and value his opinion on what he got to say, you know, and he always give you the best advice that basically touches you so much to where you like, you know, it's real, and you just got to be like, okay, look, some things you got to bow to and really understand. I just got to grow here. But recently, he was doing an interview for GQ magazine, and when he was talking, it was with Elliot Wilson. When he was talking, and I was in the room, he ended up saying, "You remember Future? You remember Shooter, right?" And Elliot was like, "Yeah, I remember Shooter." He was like, "Yeah, you know, like he used to be a photographer, but he slowed down on that now, and he just went through Hollywood on me, and now he don't take pictures as much no more because he be doing other stuff. I understand, but you know, at the same time, when he was taking pictures, just him coming from Oakland and chasing his dream and being as fire as he is with photos, you know, I that inspired me to be able to see somebody to take something from nothing and grow to being where he is today. And, you know, people and other photographers following him and admiring what he do. And he took that from nothing, you know, and we the chosen ones. And when you chosen like that, you know, you take advantage of it, you know, that inspire other people around you. And, you know, he was telling me, like, you know, I look up to him for that, you know, and I appreciate that. And so, like, you know, out of all of the years, we was always like making sure that, you know, Shooter keep climbing and doing what we're doing. You know, we need to get rid of that. Let's do this. Let's get this right. But at that time, you know, he gave me my flowers, and I appreciate that. So, like, that was one thing that really kind of hit me, you know, and I was like, man, you know, I woke up the next day and went to go buy me a brand new camera. I was like, yeah, I gotta get back to taking pictures again. So I woke up the next day, literally, I was in New York. I literally woke up and went with the B&H and bought me a whole new Leica camera. The best one, the one I always wanted, the camera that I always admired and I wanted to get. I just woke up and went to go get it. Luckily, I was in a position to do that. So yeah, that was probably one of the biggest moments that just hit me, you know, because most people look at the moments to be something like, well, I met Barack Obama, or I was, you know, and that, I mean, all of that stuff is cool. But when your brother or somebody that you care for that's successful and as pristine and talented at what he do, to look back and motivate you and you motivate him, but he tell you something that motivates you, you know, I really appreciated that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's funny you speak of motivation. Gianni just asked, what are the top 3 things that keep you motivated? Because it's one thing to get motivated, but what keeps you motivated?
Well, the first thing is my son. As it lately has been him. So I'm always motivated because just seeing him and understanding, you know, that he got to get wherever he need to get to in life, that motivates me. My family second, and then with the rest of my family is second, and then I would have to say, you know, it's really like the experiences that I've been through. That's one thing that I do tap into from yesterday's times is the experiences that I've been through, and traveling the world and seeing all these beautiful places and riding on these nice jets and nice cars, doing all of this stuff. It keeps you motivated. You know, it keeps you in the mindset that this is where I got to be. This is where I'm working for. This is the fruits of my labor. This is what I got to keep this going. And I want the rest of my people and the people around me to experience the same thing. So I got to keep pushing so I can get there. You know what I'm saying? You know, but that's really, those really like the main 3 things that keep me motivated. That's my son, that's my family, and then, or I could just include that in one. And then it's also, you know, being able to keep my life at the level, and everybody's life at the level that they want, and they don't need or want for nothing. That motivates me daily.
Nice. I want to round it out with a series of questions and just say the first thing that comes to mind. Okay.
Okay.
Life is better when
you pray.
When starting a new endeavor, the one thing that you need is
faith.
Wealth is
success.
Time is
faith.
Nice. Nice. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining today. Like, it's a whirlwind conversation. Like, we could literally talk for hours. I think we have, but it's literally, been awesome, connecting. Like I said, I've been very fortunate enough, in this game of real estate. Well, not game. I mean, what we're doing in the business of real estate and what we're doing in meeting and having high level conversations, being in rooms I never thought I'd be in. And I love sharing my contacts and my resources with my community and bringing them back and like, hey, look who I met. They have the same mindsets and they're going through the same problems that we're going through, but they have these particular set of skills that they're able to manage, get on top of, and get over. And that's one of the things I'm so excited to talk to you and Rushion tonight. Any final words that you want to leave with, or any last statement that you want to say?
I want to thank you because this whole process in my journey, currently, you've been a great attribute to that too. So I really want to thank you for that. We meet often, and you sit down and you tell me certain things about myself that I know, and you ignite that fire in me. So exactly when you say Fireside Chat, that's what you do. You do it well, and you're a successful Black woman doing your thing. And not only that, you make sure that everybody around you is taking care of business too, and making sure that they're taken care of too. So like, I really appreciate you for that. And I've been admiring that from afar. Just seeing you, like, I've just been paying attention to how you move, and when you tell me stuff, I act on it. And sometimes I might be a little slow to it, but I get to it at some point because you'll be like, hey, where you at? Pull up. We need to make sure that you're on point with this right now. And I'm like, all right, cool, pull up. And when you do it, it's like therapy. At one point, I ain't never wanted to go to no therapy before. That wasn't my thing. And so when I ended up going and I sat down and I talked to the lady and she was telling me stuff, and after I was done, I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. But when I went, I never really wanted to go. And so when it was like meeting with you, it was like, I don't know, like I got some other stuff I got to do. But as soon as I link with you and I sit down with you, every time it's like, wow, she refreshed my whole entire day, and she refreshed my whole entire tomorrow. So now I know how I got to come tomorrow. So I appreciate you for that. And, and I also want to thank, obviously Future too, and my family and everybody that support me, so that's really, because Pluto has always he's been somebody that's been riding me since day one. Like, and when you say pressure make diamonds, that's like literally the definition of our relationship.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful, man. We're mere reflections of each other. I feel like iron truly sharpens iron. That's why I like creating this community of deal makers and people that come together, because I like untangling knots, right? I like untangling necklaces. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, we're often untangling things. And a lot of times our vision just needs to be untangled. And once you untangle that vision, like Gianni was asking, what motivates you? But once you tap into that vision so deep, it literally, I was not a morning person. When I realized that I'd be waking up late, I'm like, okay, something's going on. I'm not feeling something right. And I tap into what is off and then what has me sleeping later. Because when I tap into my vision, when I tell you this morning, I woke up at 4 a.m. with ideas and questions. Did I ask this? Did I do that? And the reason, because I tapped into something bigger than me. That's why I expressed in the song Strong Enough. That's why I talk about it, because it's not always easy in this journey. But the more focused that you say, the more focused that you stay, the more clear you are. Like you even mentioned about having that space around you where you protect your peace and you have that stillness in the moment and being in the now. Those are success principles that not only apply to you in your journey, but I realize they're parallels in a lot of people that I admire. So thank you for pointing that out. But I'm very intentional about making that happen and clarify my dream. So you tap into burning desire and you'll be motivated. You don't even have to worry about motivation. You'll do it no matter what.
Right. Yeah, seeing you, it's not on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as I always say, you got it. So let's get it. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Like I said, Real Estate Mastery, HTVnow.com to go view it. Real Estate Mastery, the book, go buy it on Barnes & Noble or it'sjessicamyers.com. Thank you so much, Dwight, for joining me this evening and making this all a reality for me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. And thank everybody who watching. I appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Oh yes, oh yes, they were all in there. I don't know if you saw the chat box, but they were going.
Yeah,
but you know you got it. So let's get it. Let's go. Stay tuned.
Yeah.